right off the gate, the tipping point or the starting point of this album, and which I think many people will talk about. This is a weird choice of a song. You know, there's something different there. Even the press release of this album, like, make an argument about you taking this song as a challenge with to explore like a more angular dissonant thing. When you start messing with these ideas or approaching to songwriting, where do you think this came from? Is this something you were curious in the past and you didn't indulge yourself to, or
Well, I mean, there's definitely some stuff like that on Soul for English where it's dissonant and kind of pretty fucked up. Um, so it kind of started there, and honestly, so I mean, I love metal and power chords and chugging riffs, but I feel like if you really want to push yourself, which I always try to do with Inter Arma, is whatever direction we're going in, whether it's the death metal direction or the psychedelic direction or whatever. Try to cover new ground, something that that at least I haven't really heard before,
mm,
and then also just push ourselves as far in that direction. And I feel like if you want to break new ground, you got to try new shit. And granted, there are bands that have used dissonance and riffs before. I'm most certainly not trying to say that we're the first ones,
of
but
course.
Basically, I wanted to try and write a riff where it wasn't like normal power chords and like the blues scale or whatever. So I mean, you can kind of hum the main riff of New Heaven, the it's but it's definitely fucked up. So, and that was the goal with that, was to try and create something that was still kind of memorable, but was just void of anything that you really normally hear in a death metal song.
How further are you willing to go with this to explore these ideas or this approach to be experimental and innovative? Do you draw a line? Like, do you stop yourself from going that much far?
Well, so it's funny you ask that, because um, a part of the catalyst for creating New Heaven, we didn't know it was going to be what it was quite exactly, but after Soul for English, because that record was so abrasive and oppressive and dissonant, we said, okay, we like doing that, we know we can do it, but
Mm,
let's also pull back the reins a little bit and explore other sides of what we do and see how far we can also take those other sides, whether it's the black metal side or the psychedelic side or more melodic, doomy, whatever you want to call it, type things. So I mean, I'm definitely not opposed to doing something even crazier than the song New Heaven.
right.
But you run the risk of it just turning into a noise track then. So it's hard to find the balance of it's still like catchy and sounds like a song, but it's noisy and fucked up. So I I definitely will be making more attempts in the future and see how much further we can take it without it again just sounding like fucking Merzbow with blast beats.
That's the interesting part, right? Like, find the right balance or something to be compelling, convincing, and not just experimenting for the sake of being weird and, bizarre.
Yeah, and that was the other big emphasis, was songwriting, and the basis of a good song is either a good guitar riff or a good vocal melody or a good chord progression, and then
Mm.
building off of that foundation. So if you have something that's just noisy for the sake of being noisy, it could be possible to create a song around that, but it's a hell of a lot more difficult.
And you guys are not in that field yet.
Not yet. Maybe next record it'll just be like 90 minutes of Merzbow with blast beats.
Right. Well, I want to ask you something. Instead of just directly ask you the question, would you have done this album 10 years in the past if you have this like not just in your own experiment, but like in terms of the audience and how people could react to something like this? I believe that for someone who enjoys extreme music, it's like a continuing conversation. Like I enjoy New Heaven right now because 1 year before or 2 years earlier, I enjoyed something similar that kind of influenced my taste, to develop a taste in extreme music. So in that regard, do you think of the audience? Okay, like, okay, maybe this is too far out for our audience or for our fans. Let's wait for something in the future.
Well, I don't we don't really write songs thinking about what other people are going to think about them and worrying about whether or not it will go over people's heads or anything like that. I mean, there are times where I'm like, all right, I just want to write the most technical thing that sounds like the Dillinger Escape Plan meets King Crimson meets Yes meets fucking Origin or something. Which I mean, I'm always torn because there's the dorky musician side of me that's like, yeah, let's just play shit like that, and then there's the rock and roll side of me. It's like, let's just play fucking AC/DC, simple ass, straight to the point riffs. So there's always trying to find that balance that satisfies both sides of the argument.
Right.
And I mean, to answer your question, we maybe could have written a record like this 10 years ago. It's not out of the realms of possibility, but also I feel like an album is just kind of a snapshot of a band, of where that band is at that point in time. So I mean, if you're thinking about it that way, then no, we definitely couldn't have written it 10 years ago. So,
well, from my side of the table, this album seems disruptive in the core of logical progression of the band, and I don't think we often receive disrupting albums in a band discography. Like maybe the comfort zone is unavoidable most of the times. So, have you ever questioned the nature of your own sound by production values, dynamics, and structure in a way that you or the band needed some reaffirmation of your work as a group? And is perhaps New Haven a reflection of that?
Yeah, no, I mean, we once we kind of, obviously the first couple of years with demos and maybe even the first record, we were sort of figuring shit out. But pretty much once Sky Burial came out, I thought, okay, this I think we got it. I mean, it's still a kind of a large world that our music exists in, because again, there's quiet acoustic songs, there's balls to the wall death metal songs. So and like, definitely I emphasized way early on, like I don't want to be a band where it's just like Cannibal Corpse. If you guys like, don't get me wrong, I fucking love Cannibal Corpse, but if you go see them live or you listen to the record, it's boom, 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 boom the whole fucking time. And I always wanted there to be dynamics and light and shade and things of that nature. So we never really questioned any of those sorts of things. The only thing that we've collectively strived for through the years when we're writing songs and creating records and whatnot. It's just always trying to create, just trying to write the best songs that we can write at the time, and make sure that we feel like we're putting our best foot forward. And there have been a couple times in the past, like there's a song that we recorded for this record that didn't make the cut, and it wasn't necessarily that it was a bad song. It just, compared to where the bar was kind of set with all the rest of the songs, I was like, let's set this one aside. Maybe we'll come back to it. Maybe we won't. So it's always just like trying to make sure that we feel the best, that we've put our best effort into everything that we put our name on.